everybody. Welcome back to Seek and Surrender on Awakening Airwaves. We're here with a fun topic today. If you've been feeling like you can't make up your mind, if you've been feeling like decisions are hard and things are, they feel conflicted, we're here to talk about a tool that we often use for that, which is Oracle cards. So we're going to dive in all about using Oracle. Different decks, different techniques, lots of different questions that you can ask, but we were definitely going to kind of center around decision making. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to jump into some questions for each other to kind of get conversation flowing. So I guess I'll start, Kay. I mean, one of my questions was basically kind of how are you using Oracle lately, but in a sense too of what kind of questions are you asking?
Yeah. So I use it mostly for guidance around topics. Um, so if I'm struggling with kind of in a way, Oracle, I feel like it's not telling you something you don't know in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Like, because deep down you really do know. And then I feel like once you see the symbolism and the things in the cards, it kind of like subconsciously you know the answer. And then it all just kind of it helps you kind of bring it forward to the forefront of your mind. So the questions I ask are kind of like the answer is kind of a reflection of what I'm really feeling. So I ask for things like guidance around something like, or what should I do? And I usually pull about three cards, one for like, okay, what is the current energy around this situation? What's my guidance like moving forward? And then are there any blocks? Are there any energetic blocks um, from getting to the best outcome?
Yeah.
I try to avoid like yes or no questions or questions that require a very specific answer. Those
Mm-hmm.
don't always work well with Oracle or even tarot cards.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
agree with that for sure. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I lately have been, I mean, there's been times like over the course of using them as a tool that I've like had ginormous spreads like on my floor, like
Mhm.
trying to kind of like look at something from every angle, whether that's kind of like what you said, like what's the current energy around it. I'd sometimes put in like, what's the challenge around this? And just, yeah, it's like the question just, it was spread out and it was crazy. And I mean, yes, it was helpful, but sometimes that can be really overwhelming. So honestly, lately, all I've been doing is just asking for one card of support,
Hmm.
like taking it all the way back and trying to just be very, um, like singularly focused in a way. And I found that to be really helpful too, because I'll usually pull it like in the morning, either if it's about a decision or just like support for the general day, because I know
Yeah,
it
that's a
might
good one.
be challenging.
Hmm.
And then I can kind of just be like, okay, we're not going to get complicated. Just throw me one card and we'll talk about, all the themes. And it just makes you kind of to get, not get so wrapped up on overthinking how multiple cards might work together to make a message for you. Like if it's one card, it kind of you look at all the symbolism, you look at all of the, words or characters in it. If there's a number on it, then you're kind of focusing on the number too. So I found that it helps me not overthink because it's more simplified.
Yeah.
And I think that that can be helpful sometimes.
Yeah. I remember when I was first getting started, I would do that right after meditation. I would just pull one card for like daily guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really helpful. And it's less intimidating because sometimes you're not sure like what all the cards mean in a grid. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know you mentioned like a big spread. It's like that can get kind of intimidating, but
Yeah.
it's fun once you can get there too.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
I have a question for you. So when you were first getting started using cards, was there any aspect of it that you felt like intimidated by it all, and how did you kind of overcome that?
Yeah, for sure. I think just what you were saying, it's like Everybody always wants to be right.
Mhm.
Like we always want to be right. And sometimes using tools like this that you know have meaning,
Mhm.
when you pull a card and maybe you've been really diligent of like reading through the booklet that comes with it, but you pull a card and in your gut you feel like it means something else for you that day, there's this tendency to kind of be like, oh no, like I don't think that's what that means. Is that what it means? And then you're like just creating this like soup in your mind of like, you can't wade through the meanings of it. But really, you should be going with your intuition. You should be going with, what's drawing to you. So yeah, that was what was intimidating for me at first because I was like, I'm such a follow the structure of something kind of person
Mhm.
that it was hard to set that on the side and be like, no, I think I'm actually drawn to this one tiny thing in the card, and this is what it means for me today.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what was intimidating. How about you? What was
I-
intimidating for you?
Just to piggyback off that really quick, I think after working with these for a while, you realize that you can't really ever get it wrong. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
you pick the wrong one or there's always something in there for you. For
Yeah.
me, when I was first getting started, I mean, I think I had Oracle cards even before I really was using them like how I do now, but I always just figured
Mm-hmm.
like it was just like something cute to have on the coffee table. But I thought you had to be like psychic, like so I mean, I think that part. And then once I took some intuitive classes and kind of learned like, you know, anyone could tap in, and you just have to be
Mm-hmm.
in a certain kind of space. And I know we'll get into that more, but just be open, It's kind of like a way of remembering how to listen, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, they can be helpful for sure.
Mm-hmm. That kind of leads into like my next question, which was, do you find it as a tool you can trust? And kind of how did you get there?
Yes, 100%. Because it is like a mirror, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's not always what you want to hear or what you want to see. I found myself, in my earlier days, like pulling something and it's not what I wanted to hear. And I'm like, oh, let me just pull another card for clarity, like just
Yeah,
make sure.
totally.
And then it just kind of like reinforces the first card. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I gotta like see this, Sometimes you see things
Mm-hmm.
that you maybe don't want to see. Um, so just moving past that, the resistance and like being more open and being more comfortable with that reflection and with that mirror. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And also like how much it's helped me. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so, I think everybody that has used cards has done that when you're like, no, that can't be it.
Right.
You pull another one, it's like, just kidding.
Yeah. Or
Stop,
when
stop
you're
trying to look
shuffling and they
away.
like fly out,
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
loud. So
Yeah. That's hilarious. I'm just seeing myself over and over again. I have done that. Yes.
mhm.
Yeah. I think as a tool, like a trusting thing, yeah, that totally like hits the mark for me too of it just took time to kind of get used to like how information is communicated through it.
Mhm.
Um, and like you said, I think, and I found this with several tools, like it depends on your state when you approach it. Like it depends on how you're feeling. It depends on, you know, yeah, just what you're bringing to the table when you're about to use them, because you can definitely see what you want to see,
Mhm.
kind of going hand in hand with what you said. Like you'll get to the point where you're pulling a card, and even though it's something that you don't want to acknowledge, you're like deep down, you're like, I see what this is. But I think on the other hand, too, you can definitely pull a card and pick out one thing that fits the story that you already came to it with and
Mhm.
get stuck on that. And so I think when I realized how much I needed to get out of my own way, then it was like you said, like everything was making sense, everything was clear. Um, But yeah, as soon as I got out of my own way, I was like, oh, this is really impactful. Like, this is quite powerful of a tool.
Hmm.
Um, because I think, it's not limited to just the energy that's consciously on your mind in the moment. Like it takes in the energy of exactly where you are and everything, even the things that you have kind of put in boxes in your mind and stored away. So yeah, it's neat when something comes up that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like that's something I can't ignore. You're
Right.
right. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, once you kind of get out of your own way, it's easy to trust what comes up because it's just usually right on the money.
So for working with cards, I usually just do them for myself, but sometimes I'll have someone ask me to like pull a card or do a reading for them, usually like friends or
Mm-hmm.
family. But I don't know about you, but for me, I'm a very like logical person. So for me, when I'm pulling for myself, like I could see work with both energies, like the intuitive side, the logical side, like but when I'm working with someone else, it's hard to be logical if you don't know the details of what they have going on. And then you have to rely
Mm-hmm.
solely on intuition. And that like makes me so nervous, because you're working with someone else's energy and they have all these expectations. And especially if they're not like familiar with how cards work, they take the imagery very literal. So,
Mm-hmm.
how do you work with that? Like, do you pull cards for other people?
I do. Yeah. It's recently a service that I always use well, not always, but I often use cards in Reiki sessions with people.
Hmm.
But I realized that it's a service that people really like
Yeah.
as like a one-off. So I just kind of pulled it out as its own service that I'm offering now too. But it is totally that. And it goes back to what I said earlier. It's like you don't want to be wrong. Like you want to make sure that you're right. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's like a beautiful thing and a terrifying thing when you don't
Hmm.
know someone's full like story or situation because
Yeah.
you're like you can really sink into your intuition and be like, okay, this is what's coming up for me, what
Mhm.
resonates with you. And then that can kind of lead the discussion. But it is intimidating because you also never know, like, sometimes people come to you with like kind of vague questions. You don't know how close it's sitting on their heart or like how much emotion is tied to what they're really asking you underneath. Because even if it's a vague question, when you're setting the right intention, you're pulling the cards and the energy of the energy of the transaction. I don't know, that's a weird way of saying it, but like the energy of the transaction is fully there. Like
Yeah.
even if you don't know the full question,
Mm,
you're going to pull for the full situation. And so I find that sometimes what's intimidating sitting in full intuition with that is when you do pull something and whatever is coming up for me, I say, and you can get this really big emotional response. And you're kind of like, whoa, I
yeah.
didn't know we were that deep right now. Like, I didn't know that this was, really sitting with you the way. Cause people
Yeah.
are, it's hard to, and in the situation where like you don't know the full story, it's usually
Mhm.
because it's kind of like a client situation where you don't know each other very
Right.
well. So it's intimidating to go to someone that you don't know entirely well and be like, hey, I would love for you to pull cards about me, basically, stranger,
Mhm.
like I'm inviting you into my space and into
Yeah.
like this kind of vulnerable thing. So yeah, it can get intimidating um, because people are really just searching for support and
Mhm.
um, yeah, but it's intuition always leads you down the right path. And
Yeah.
then usually after a couple of cards, like if it's like like a conversation, you're kind of pulling here and there.
Mhm.
I feel like the logical does get a chance to come in a little bit because you start to piece things together and then you get their feedback. And then it's like, okay, yes, we're traveling down the same road right now in this
Mhm.
conversation. So that was a very long winded answer,
Well,
but
that was great. That was helpful
yes.
for me. What a beautiful gift to be able to do that too, you know? that kind of leads
Yeah, it
into
really is.
where we're going next with this. And that's like to be able to tap into that intuitive part. Like, what kind of
Hmm.
space do you personally have to be in even before the session starts or before you pull a card for yourself? And what do you do to kind of get there?
Yeah, I think it's so important and crucial to set your energy and set your space because it's just like we kind of talked about earlier, like you can pull what you want to see. You
Hmm.
can use any tool and get what you want to see. So it's really about getting out of your own way, breathing into like your current state, really sinking into the root, grounding yourself. I usually really get rooted with my breathing and then intentionally just really breathe and lift through my whole body, like up to the third eye and crown, and just invite that kind of divine flow of information, like
Hmm.
from cosmos down into me. Um, and I find that in the few minutes that that kind of takes to intentionally set myself, then I'm kind of out of my own way and I can approach the questions that I'm asking um, in a way that will like actually receive like the highest truth. Um, and I think too, it's important that you are intentional with what energy you're connecting with
Hmm.
to kind of receive information, whether that's just like spirit, God, it could be your guides, whether that's like a council of guides or like a specific guide. It could be an ancestor or a loved one. Um, but yeah, I think it's important to be very intentional of where you're connecting your energy to get information,
Yeah.
and how you're doing it. But how about you? How do you kind of set your groundwork?
Yeah. So I feel like, yeah, you are able to ask better questions when you're in that space, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for me, being in my head is a constant struggle. So being able to ground into my body and out
Mm-hmm.
of my head is a big thing for me because reading from there is so much more light. I don't feel frustrated. I don't feel like the pressure of getting it right or seeing kind of what I want to hear or what I want to see. So that's important for me just to kind of ground, especially with if someone else asked me to read for them. I think they think it's like, oh, you could just do it on the fly. It's like, oh, give me a
No,
second.
we need a minute.
Right. Um, so yeah, that's really important for me. Um, and you get way better results too.
Mm-hmm.
You just take a few
Yeah,
minutes to kind of ground into it. I also
for
put my
sure.
hand over the cards or like ground the cards themselves too, if I haven't done that in a while,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of clear the energy.
Yeah, that's always important. Clear your deck. I usually just like shuffle a bit until it feels cleared while kind of like intentionally clearing the energy. You can also use like smudging. You could
Hmm.
use like sage to clear. I know some people kind of leave things out in the moonlight to clear energy too. Like there's lots of ways that you could clear cards, but that is an important step too,
Yeah.
especially if you're reading for someone else after reading for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to like carry over your own energy into their space and vice versa afterwards.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, so we're going to chat through like a few examples of how you could use the cards to answer questions for yourself. So I know for me, I often, especially with decision making, I will kind of try to organize in my thoughts or even like out on paper, option A, option B, whether that's, I don't know, we could say like career focused.
Hmm.
Should I follow this career path versus should I change and follow this, whatever it might be? And instead of, like you said earlier, like instead of yes or no, what
Hmm.
I'll often ask is, what is the energy surrounding this option? And what is the energy surrounding this option? And that kind of gives you more of a feel of the situation as a whole versus just trying to interpret, well, if this card comes up right way up, is that yes? Like it gives you more of a total feeling of what what the answer is for each situation. And then you still have the power and the choice to decide what you want to do with that information,
Yeah.
um, versus just trying to understand a yes, no. But what's kind of a question or a spread that you found yourself doing?
Um, Sometimes I like to like verify things like, am I being crazy or is this really, you know, is this
Mm-hmm.
person's being really weird? And like I don't know if it's me or if they have something going on. So I'm gonna pull a card like, what's the energy around the situation? Like, is there anything that I'm doing to cause this? Or and then like what can I do moving forward personally to not be so affected by this person's energy, you know? And then the
Mm-hmm.
cards will kind of lay out something that kind of like tells me I'm like not making this up and like
Mm-hmm.
gives me some kind of insight. So it's kind of cool for that. I also use it for usually it's like guidance around situations. So um, or the energy around situations. So and that
Mm-hmm.
kind of helps me just gives me a little more clarity rather than like a specific answer.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And what you said reminded me too. It's always good when you're pulling, kind of like you said, for to understand situations, especially with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I like to pull to like add in somewhere, and usually at the end, like, what am I not seeing?
Oh, that's a good one.
And then that kind of gives you like your blind spot of like, oh, they're
I
really
love
going
that.
through something and it's
Yeah.
not actually about me
Right.
or,
Mm-hmm. More often
something like
than not.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, and I think too, I mean, there's lots of spreads that you can pull for. I think I used to do every couple of months I would pull like a chakra spread. So I would pull the energy of like each of my chakras and kind of see where things were balanced and imbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
That was always super helpful and very in depth of like what my energy body was needing. And even just like mentally and emotionally, like what was I needing at that point? What was needing to be tended to? Um, you also hear a lot of people that pull for like past, present, future. And that can be around like an individual person or just like a situation. Um, any others that you think of that you use like regularly?
Um, Sometimes like during a new moon, I'll pull like energy that guides me through that new moon, you know, because sometimes I'm
Mm-hmm.
not always sure like what to do. I know it's
Yeah.
a good opportunity to like set intentions and stuff. So I'll usually pull a card for that. Like, what would best serve me right now, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good one for that. But it's such a cool tool just to kind of get in touch with your energy self and your energy body. You know, like I love the
Mm-hmm.
idea of the chakra one to
Mm-hmm.
see like your blocks and everything. Like that's something I want to definitely try now. So,
Yeah, it's a fun one. And I think too, the more you work with cards, the more comfortable you'll get and you'll understand how you personally are called to use them. And even that goes across like different decks kind of have different energies too. So whether you're using, like an oracle deck or tarot, I feel like tarot has a very different feeling than oracle. It's kind of more straightforward, more traditionally to the point and direct. And oracle's a bit more gentle and like open to interpretation.
mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, as you work with it more, you kind of start making your own questions that you'll regularly ask that kind
Yeah.
of fits what you need at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there was a quite a long time where I consistently every day was pulling like, um, what's the general energy of the day around me? What do I need to be aware of? And what am I not seeing? And that kind of like set me up for a pretty productive and like aware day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really helpful. And for quite a while, like I was just going through a lot and needed that kind of support every day of being like, okay, here's my focus points.
Yeah.
Now I can function as a human and, keep going and not, crumble apart or whatever.
Yeah. One I just thought about too is I like to set a lot of goals and like goals in between those goals. So sometimes if I'm in between a goal and I'm feeling like I'm at a plateau, I'll pull a card like, okay, energy around this goal. Is this goal still serving me?
Mm,
What are the blocks? Is it still, am I still on track? So that's
that's
a
a
good way
great
to do it.
idea
Mhm.
because sometimes we do have to like change
Pivot.
course.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Cool.
Should we pull any cards now?
We can.
Fun.
Okay. So we are going to move on to our normal card pull, but we're going to do it a little bit differently this time. Okay, we'll pull a card and I will pull a card. And I guess before we pull, listener, take a few breaths, just kind of sink into the moment. And we will, I guess, think of either one or two. See what number sticks out to you most. All right, Kay, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I can go.
Okay. Number one.
I'll time lapse that. All right. So the card I have is a number two card. It's momentum, and it's this. I
Mm,
can also put it on the screen for you guys.
love that one.
Yeah. It kind of like if you could see how the feathers in his head are kind of flowing. It just looks like a circular kind of movement and one kind of flow of motion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he also has a kind of snake dragon on his chest. Um, and the red kind of for me symbolizes like fire and movement. So
Mm-hmm.
momentum, new energy. We're in a new year, so yeah. What?
Lots of drive in that card,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
forward motion. And
Hmm.
I love that card too because it feels like it it's such a strong masculine energy in that card. I feel like
Definitely.
that's also like giving you permission of like using your analytical. It's like, yeah, like build it, set the foundation, keep moving,
Hmm.
you've got it. And there's just a lot of strength in that card too.
Yeah, I like how he has his head up, and his
Mm-hmm.
chest out. His
Super
throat chakra
confident.
is exposed, so
Mm-hmm.
be speaking your truth and moving forward.
Yeah, lots of
Good one.
fire.
Yeah,
Lots of it.
love it.
Okay. Card number two. This one's been following around. In body.
Hmm.
Love this one. This is also the root chakra card. And it is this woman just totally sprawled out in all of her beauty and vulnerability. There's also a lot of red in this card, too. So I guess listeners need that rooted, grounded, fiery kind of energy. But this card is really neat because it's kind of this symbol for me of like a intentional rest, like intentional pause, but not without action. Like it's her expression is so much of just like self-care, like I'm just here and I feel good about it and I'm like comfortable. And so I feel like this card is often just reminding us to like not forget how important it is that we're in tune with our bodies and what we need physically. Don't forget to drink water throughout the day or, go outside and breathe some fresh air and stabilize yourself. I also love in the background, there's three trees, and on each tree, there's four apples, red apples. But I always kind of see that as like life, death, and rebirth too. So it's kind of like this bodily reminder of like, hey, you shift, you change. It's all good. It's part of the process. And then the four on each um, reminds me of like the seasons, but also the elements. So it's like just this Yes, things are moving. And like case card, momentum, it's always around us. But at the same time, seasons change and you still need rest, like you still need pause. So if you picked number two, maybe take a breather
Mm-hmm.
and really make
Yeah.
sure that you're taking care of yourself.
I think both those cards actually go well together too, just as a whole for
Mm-hmm.
this episode. Like how beautiful how they are like yin and yang for each other.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's a really cool message together.
Mm-hmm.
Moments of action and moments of rest. Don't
Yeah.
get too crazy.
Mhm.
Take it easy. Yeah, for sure. Well, is that all for us today?
I think
That
so. I
went by
think our
so
time is up.
fast.
It
I
did.
know.
Great.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to let us know in the comments, like, how do you work with cards? Is it something that you've used often? Is it a new tool? Are you kind of curious? Do you have any questions? We'd love to answer them in the comments too.
Mm-hmm.
And be sure to check out all the other shows on Awakening Airwaves as well. And we will see you next month.
Yeah.
Happy March.